So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next session, the panel discussion on how to achieve Swacch and Swastha Bharat, health and dignity for all. Now it's clear that what India has done over the last 5 decades has actually improved India's economic capabilities decade on decade, every decade. Interestingly, we've also reduced poverty every decade. But what we have not done is either eradicate poverty completely or provide to all Indians a certain minimum standard of living. And that is, in many ways, the biggest challenge that we face as a nation. It is also clear that we are not a country. We are actually a continent in every aspect of the world, in proportion, in size, in diversity, in languages, in social structures. And we have almost inherited, over a long period of time, biases that have been built into our minds. It's almost genetic. As a nation state, we've had a language bias, we've had a regional bias, we have a caste bias, so we have a gender bias as well. We have a series of biases where it's almost training that you give to children that this is how you should treat each other. That is a challenge we also have as a nation. Swami Vivekananda, Swami Dayanand, and many other leaders, Mahatma Gandhi, many other leaders tried to address this squarely, saying that India needs to be divided not by caste, but India needs to figure out roles that it has to play which are complementary for all and equally accepting of all. Accepting differences is a unique quality which you find in some nation states. And it's also okay. As a democracy, we are one of the most vibrant democracies in the world. As a democracy, you recognize it is okay for me to have an opinion which is different from yours, and for you to have an opinion which is different from his. And that's fine too, which is what makes a democracy dynamic. In many ways, that is our biggest strength, and interestingly, it's also our biggest challenge. Our diversity also throws up many challenges, because what a part of India likes and accepts may be completely different from what another part of India likes and accepts. So for us to do things which are acceptable across the nation, even to make products and services which are acceptable across the nation, is very, very hard unless you understand the nuances of how different parts of India behave. We've seen this in many of our businesses, that it is important to understand that our festivals, which are differently designed for different faiths, different regions, will drive some behavior. Even product design actually changes. I remember in the old days, when I was in Hero Cycles, we had figured out that a particular color and a design of a bicycle sells much more in West Bengal than in UP, for example, sells more in Orissa than in Rajasthan. And we'd also figured out the cycle of how the demand changes based on people's events, weddings, and other events linked to the life of the agri-produce. It is more and more now being realized that if we are to progress as a complete nation, it is going to be critical for us to say, you have to do at least this much as a people in terms of providing basic quality of life for health, and not just being able to provide hospitals and medicines, but preventive health care. Being able to provide education and skills as almost a right to all Indians, but ensuring that we all earn that right constantly by our behavior, by how we pay back to society. So I have the pleasure of being part of this panel of outstanding individuals, 3 individuals who in their own fields are fantastic leaders They're great performers. I don't need to introduce them. You know all three of them quite well. So we can do it either way. If you like to make a statement each for a few minutes, we can do that first, or we can make it completely interactive, whatever your choice is.
Up to you. I just want 2 minutes.
Fine. So let's have a few minute statement from each one of you, then we'll make it interactive.
My statement is very simple. Following on what you said, whenever I give talks, particularly to students, I always quote Swami Vivekananda. And I think this audience would also like to hear what I say. And that is that wisdom lies not in the amount of knowledge acquired, but in the degree of its application. If you are all here from industry and whatnot, I'm finding more and more in India, knowledge is created, but is not being implemented. So this is something I think Mr. Mohandas can comment on. Also, I'm a great believer that a person like myself, I'm a chemist, so I like to do what I'm best at. I don't like to interfere. In my company itself, I know nothing about supply chain. It was raised this morning. I know nothing about finance. My thing is new products, portfolio, R&D, and I'd like people to concentrate essentially on what they are best at. Not to say that they should not know what is going on. I know everything that's going on, but I'm concentrating on what I'm best at. The other thing, at least under the Indian thing on healthcare, I think one thing we have to look at very seriously is population and family planning. This is a neglected subject today. It wasn't in the 1960s when every time you saw big triangles all over the place. I'd like Mr. Mohandas to comment on the Indian population of 1.65 billion by 2050. Another thing that I always mention, and I think, again, I'm only talking healthcare, is how many of you here know what is the disease pattern in India? The disease pattern in India, 110 million mental health, 80 million cardiac, 60 million asthmatics, 60 million diabetics, 50 million hepatitis cases. 1 in 3 Indians has got latent TB. How many Indians are HIV positive? The government doesn't even want to know. So health in India is what I've always termed a permanent crisis. And because it's a permanent crisis, I think all of us in this room should look at it as to what do we do. This is a crisis situation which has to be solved. And it's all very well to grow and whatnot, but you want a healthy India. And this is something I am a great believer in, that when it comes to drugs, you therefore cannot afford a monopoly in healthcare. I leave it to you.
Well said. Well said. Thank you. So you touched an important point, and I'd just like to supplement one thing you said. You know, we continue to talk of young India, India's great demographic dividend, which we will achieve if we can train, skill, educate, and create opportunities. What we tend to forget is, in the next few years, India will also be the world's oldest country, not just the youngest country. We will have more people over the age of 60 than any nation in the world in the next 8 to 10 years. Are we equipped? Are we prepared? Are we doing enough in our systems, in our processes, in our healthcare, in providing pension plans, in providing buildings which have support for the elderly, in providing grab bars in buildings and homes? So there is something to think about that I think is not yet got enough of our attention. At the same time, as we are climbing up this ladder, one of our big challenges which India had recognized for a long time was cleanliness. Going further was sanitation itself. For centuries, actually for millennia, Indians were told you should never defecate close to your home. Now we are saying you should have a toilet inside every home. So genetically there is something that you have been trained in, and now you're being told something different. So there is a conflict in the message. How do you convey the message in a manner that you understand the complete benefit of doing something and changing a behavior? It is changing a societal behavior. Some people were doing it out of pure compulsion. Some were doing it because that is the way they were told, or that is the way they saw. So we have a unique leader with us here who has worked on transforming social behavior and transforming the lot of individuals who were disadvantaged and were considered a class of people that was considered inferior. I don't know what gave anyone or any of us the right to consider somebody inferior, but that's the way it was in society. And that was an accepted norm. You made this comment earlier, Dr. Pathak, that they could touch a dog, but not another human being, which is a shame when you think about it. So how do we ensure that this behavior that you're working on is transformed and transmitted across the nation, not just to the few, well, I shouldn't say the few you're touching because you've touched millions. How do we make it a national movement?
Yes.
How do we make it the new way that we behave?
Yeah. Actually, rightly you said, just I link the story. In Vedic period, the system of cleaning night soil is started.
Yes.
We find mentioned in Ayurveda that the Chandals given the job of cleaning of night soil. And you rightly said that in the Puranic period, the book called Devi Puran suggested Indians not to defecate near human habitats. So throw an arrow, and if it falls down, dig a small pit, put some grass and leaves, and then defecate. After it is over, again put some grass and leaves and fill with the soil. So these two systems or practices continued till British came to India. You will find in its architecture, any building, no provision of a toilet. Maybe an emperor's house, a king's house, any house, everything have big architecture, but no toilet. Only the corner of a house is a hole that is defecate and to fall down on the earth and it was clean. Now, Buddha period also, this continued. Mauryan, Gupta, Mughals, and British. I don't want to go into a long story, but so.
But it's a useful education for all of us, actually.
So Mahatma Gandhi was the first person who wanted to rescue the untouchables and also to give alternative to open defecation. So he said Tati Parmiti. Now, when Gandhi himself has written that till they clean night soil, nobody will have food with them. And Gandhi invited upper caste people in Odisha, Bhubaneswar in 1934. They came in the evening, but refused to eat. So Gandhi has written that Indians can face the bullets of the British, but unable to eat with untouchables. Now, the million-dollar question was how to replace the system. The British introduced sewerage system 1870 for the first time in Calcutta, 1850 in London, 1860 in New York, 1870 in Calcutta. By that technique, it is not possible to stop open defecation or to end the practice of manual cleaning. Only 100 cities have this system till now. So my contribution is that I invented the technology. Had not I invented technology of Sulabh, even today there is no chance of solving both the problems. Now, so just technology. A simple technology, a simple idea that worked. I just see two pits, one is at a time, others kept standby. When is full, switch off to another one, and after 2 years, it becomes fertilizer manure. Simple technology. It's appropriate, affordable, indigenous, and context appropriate. I smell for you. This is human skater in my hand. It's nothing else.
No smell.
Yeah,
no smell at all.
So I.
And it's rich fertilizer.
Yeah, rich fertilizer that it contains nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and so this technology has made the difference in the lives of untouchables Now they are not required to clean, they are raw mosquito. And also, now women go to toilets with safety and dignity. The question is that now how to go about and how to build. What I have experienced that government and NGO, when they work together, then you can achieve the success. In isolation, neither the government nor the NGOs can. So in Sulabh, in last 50 years, I have worked with the government and changed the statistics of India. We have put up about 1.5 million toilets, individual toilets. I have not patented the technology. In the age of patenting, my mother used to say, always try to help others. So when I developed all these technologies, I have kept them free. Anyone can do it, extend it. Wonderful. Now these technologies can help not only Indians, 2.4 billion people on the planet from Africa, Asia, Latin America, they have no access to safe and hygienic toilets. This can help them. So this is one thing. The second thing, the public toilets I was mentioning there. Now, when I started Patna, a person said, I will give you land, cost of construction. I will not give you money for the maintenance. I asked, you have to get money from the public and then run it. Those who are from Bihar here, just I'm telling you a story. Don't mind, don't be emotional. Yeah. So they used to say, they don't pay bus fare, rail fare, would they pay toilet fare? I said, look, if it's clean, nobody mind pay small coin. But if it is dirty, who will go inside? So first day, 500 people came to eat your toilets. Now, the biggest toilet we have built now in Pandharpur, where 400,000 people, 4 lakh people will use daily. At present, 1.5 lakh using daily right now. So now this system also has worked. Now the business company, other NGOs also have joined. Idea has worked. So we are in Kabul, Afghanistan. Also we are doing now South Africa, Cape Town, all this. So this idea also has worked. So one individual toilet or the public toilet. Also we have recycled human waste. And there we are getting biogas for cooking, for lighting, and also converted to energy. And the water discharge, this is the water from public toilet. You see, the BOD is less than 10. Wow. The Government of India standard is a 30 BOD. So this water also is used as a fertilizer. But if you want to discharge your bodies, there is no chance of pollution. And I developed many years back, Government of India has many formed committees, committee after committee, committee after committee, experts from Australia, America, France, but they don't come to Palam near domestic airport to see and adopt the technology. So now the question is that you have to give the alternative. This is very important. So John F. Kennedy said, not ask what the country has done for you. You ask what you have done for the country. So in sanitation sector, I'm telling you, that we have given an alternative and all appropriate, affordable, indigenous, contestable. What he was telling about, the curative side. And I'm telling you the preventive side, that at least earlier. It's all preventive. 50 diseases are caused because of lack of sanitation, lack of toilets. And therefore, now, जैसा खड़ा हो आप लोग, हिरमतला से लोग जो आए हैं, this is a village, हिरमतला वाले बैठ कर पहले खड़ा हो, हिरमतला के लोग खड़ा होने पहले. That village had no toilet. Now that lady, Sukuntala, she used to wake up whole night. She has 3 daughters and 3 daughter-in-law. And she take one by one whole night for the outside for convenience. Now every house has a toilet now. And all are using and they are very happy. There is no complaint from any house that this is not being used. So the question is how you deliver You have to follow. The Sulabh, we motivate, educate, communicate, implement, and follow up also. This is very important. So the question is that if you want to solve the problems, so we have given all solutions. So now, just away from that, this water we are cleaning in West Bengal, in the arsenic area, from pond and from the wells. 50 paise, excluding this water, 50 paise we are selling to the villages. That they are all being cured now. Arsenic earlier. Government of West Bengal trying too hard to find out from 82, 83, and we have solved the problem again. So this 50 paise water, all Midnapur, Mayapur, Sakati, all the wells now they have the water. In Delhi we are supplying this water 1 rupee per liter. I just put 1 rupee on the coin and get 1 liter water. You see Delhi itself. So what I say, want to treat water, and just nothing, no property outside, no agents, just put liquid and the water is pure. So these are the technologies.
I sell the tablets for this.
Yes. You can use the tablet also, yes. Make a powder, put it in the biogas plant, and gas is made 4 to 5 tons. So now I would try to conclude. The question is that we have given solutions to all the sanitation problems India was facing, is facing. And if these are, so what is important? Earlier the government used to give money for a resource mobilization, monetary supervision. But now government has no money. After 6th Finance Commission, all has gone down. So the corporate sector, God has helped you to help someone. I was born in a rich family, but my father lost all wealth. So we became very, very poor. We had problem for food also. One day, a person came to my mother, asked for the money. She went to other house and took a loan and gave to him. I asked my mother, we have no money. We have a problem. Why did you go to other house to took the loan and then? So mother said, look, this is a village. We have lost wealth, everyone knows it. But this man did not go to gentleman, he would not have given the money. So he came to me. So if somebody comes to you, never try to say no. Try to solve the problem. So what is required now? From America, a question was asked for me. When the whole world become very happy, we were talking about the happy thing, about the speech. So they thought I will reply factory, education, this and that. I said no. 3.5 billion people are marginalized, and 3.5 billion very prosperous and happy people. If one person helps other, the whole all becomes happy. So what is required in India now? The Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, has given a call to achieve free from open defecation by 2019. And by government alone, it is totally impossible to achieve. So the corporate sectors have to come forward, they will have to contribute, and then we can achieve the success. So to pay tribute to Mahatma Gandhi and to fulfill dreams of the Prime Minister of India, what is required? Those who are sitting here, we are okay with Airtel company, Bharati Foundation. Airtel company has taken the whole Ludhiana district, and the company is funding to us, and we are implementing projects. So we are okay with 82 companies, Boeing and this HDFC Bank, Globia company, and so many so forth. 82 companies okay with us.
I'm going to cut you short here, because I want to make this a little bit more interactive.
Okay, so this
is a very critical point you're making. I'm sorry to stop you at this point, because you're giving us a very, very important critical message. But I want to come back to this. But I want Mohan to get a word in. Mohan, as many of you know, is an absolutely unique leader. He's a rare quality as an individual, as a human being, who is pushing constantly for betterment, for efficiency, for innovation. I don't even want to tell you that he's a finance professional, etc. But I find he's got an amazing mind, very straight shooter. He doesn't play games. He will tell you what he likes. He will also tell you what he doesn't like. And he's seen very often on TV doing that. So he's one of the favorites for many of the channels because many people will not publicly criticize when things are not okay. So he's an absolute straight bat. Mohan, these are two very critical issues they've raised. For all of us now as a people, and I'm talking now the world and of course India, we are in a bit of a dilemma at this moment. Do you think there is a quick fix available to us to solve this dilemma in a reasonable period of time? Because the world is also getting very impatient. People, especially young people, have high aspirations and low tolerance. A very explosive combination if you don't meet your aspirations. So do you think, you often talked of technology and what innovation can do. These two are big problems because they are our basic needs. Can you think of a way we can do this very, very efficiently in a reasonable period of time, so then we can focus on looking at these not as problems, but as a given, and try and move forward on the many other issues that are still facing us?
Sunil, I would like to address this in two planes. One, globally. Globally, it's very clear we have to remake a new world order under new circumstances. So the post-world architecture based upon 5 powers dominant in the world is gone.
Yep.
China has risen. By 2020, the emerging markets GDP will be more than the OECD. And the time when the OECD ran the world is gone because they just don't have the ability to control. China has risen as a power. In PPP, it's $22 trillion, the largest economy in the world. America is 18 and India is about 8.2. So if we look at the world today, we have to remake, and unless that happens, the world will not be a single place. Second, we have to confront terrorism in the world. Terrorism in the Middle East and India's neighborhood is the biggest problem the world has, and this is creating countries to close borders. And that means the debate has to come overboard, and we must make sure that one country in the Middle East does not spread Wahhabism and extremism and extreme form of religion to other countries to destroy the social structure. And the third most important thing is the world has to confront sustainability on a massive scale. Because tomorrow, if climate change happens, and I think we've passed the time when climate change is beyond the critical point, we're going to face a situation when it will be beyond control. So we have to come with sustainable technologies. These problems which are known, COP21 happened in Paris, and we've seen Trump come to power, we've seen Brexit happen, we've seen Le Pen rise in France. So we have to confront this global problem. But what about India? Now, India, to me, the biggest problem is health, yes, and sanitation, yes. The biggest problem in India is rule of law. We just don't have rule of law.
Yes.
In 1947, we came away from the rule of man to the rule of law to a written constitution. The constitution guaranteed rights to every single individual. Why is it that we don't have those rights enforced? Why are our lives not safe? Why are the lives of a woman not safe? Why are the lives of our children not safe? Because we need enforcement of law. We have enough laws, but enforcement law is critical. Today, I just read an article that some poor Muslim youth were caught up for terrorism in Delhi. They came out after 12 years, and they were acquitted. They're innocent. Why should an innocent spend 12 years in jail? In a rotten third-rate country. In a rotten third-rate country, when you spend time in jail, your liberty is taken away and there's no freedom. Freedom is the most essential thing. So fix the rule of law. To fix the rule of law, we need 3 or 4 things. We have only 14 judges per million population. America is 100. We need to have more. We need technologies to solve cases. And the Supreme Court has to exercise judicial restraint. We have the Supreme Court of this country, which is going into managing cricket, into managing environment, instead of enforcing the rule of law and giving cases. So that's the most important that we have to do. Second most important thing is, as a society, we must incentivize good, honest people. And we must disincentivize bad people. Demonetization is a step in the right direction, because today, in the south of India, one woman was convicted for corruption after 20 years. When she goes to jail, she said, I'm a martyr. I'm going to jail for you. I'm thinking of all of you. And a party consisting of a lot of important people come forth and say, we want to form a government. Why is there no social angst? Why is there no anger? Why is there no movement against corruption? Why is it that we accept corruption? Why is it that many of us are helpless and give money to get ordinary things done? Unless we have a narrative where honesty is rewarded and people are not harassed. Look at the tax case. Tax terrorism is rampant. 8 lakh crore is stuck up in taxes. Everybody is scared to talk against the tax man for tax terrorism. People are scared in this country to talk the truth. Business is scared in this country to go forth and say, we don't agree with you because of retaliation. Democracy cannot sustain when there's no freedom. So we must fight for freedom. And unless the narrative changes, society cannot change. Because if crooks don't go to jail, corrupt people don't go to jail, if women are not protected, if rapists are not put behind bars immediately, if corrupt officials are not put inside, where is the good life? Where is the constitutional guarantees? Dr. Pathak spoke about people who were termed untouchables. It was abolished in 1950, 26th of January. Ambedkar did that. But it continues in India, in the south of India. They should be put to jail. We have to enforce these rights. Women have to be given their rights. Women have equal rights, all equal rights. So we need to reform. To me, that's the most important thing, Sunil. Because, you know, Sweth, I want to make one more point about population, because I think it's very important. Dr. Hameid spoke about population. Today, our fertility rate for India is 2.3. 2.3. Replacement is 2.1. Growth is 1.3%. But Dr. Hameid, the whole of South India, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala is 1.7. West Bengal is 1.6. Punjab is 1.6. And in 1970, South India was 30% of India. In 2011, it is 25% of India. In Bihar, it's 3.2. In UP, is 2.8. In Rajasthan, is 2.4. Yep. So we have a bulge in India, and this bulge is affecting politics, is affecting everything else. And population now is got a different dimension. Unless we see India as a collection of 29 different countries, there is nothing like India in population. UP and Kerala are very different. And let me give some data. Tamil Nadu's per capita income is 4 times that of Bihar. After 1991, it has gone up from 2 times to 4 times. So the divergence in income around various states, the divergence in development, and mass migration is impacting. So population has to be seen separately. So I would suggest, Sunil, each state of this India should come out with a plan for itself, develop its own people. And each state should look after itself. The idea there's one India with a grand vision, somebody sitting in Delhi pulling sticks, doesn't happen, because whatever Delhi decides, the South will never accept. The transmission loss is enormous. It didn't go to Punjab. Why go from Delhi to Punjab? From Delhi to Punjab is lost. So I think these are critical issues. Rule of law, enforcement of the primacy of rule of law, the right of the individual, the right of women. If these come, many of these problems we can solve.
So you're right, Mohan. If UP was a country, it would be the 6th largest country in the world, incidentally, after Brazil. So we have, our issues are all, as I said, continental in scale. Yeah. And therefore, the need for our solutions to be customized is also very high. We have to literally, as you're now increasingly talking of customized pharmaceutical, there is also a need for customized solutions. Our problems are well known, well defined. We need to kind of work at it. I think that's our big issue at hand right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have about 29 minutes to go. So, I would have liked to ask some more questions, but I would rather that the audience now pitches in. So, can we get mics to the people who raise their hands? And may I request, ask a question and please keep it very, very short. And please put a question mark at the end of your statement.